everyone. Hope you have a great weekend. Great week. My name is Claire Song. I am a third year undergraduate student at University of California, San Diego, and I will be the moderator for tonight's event. So please make sure that your microphone is muted unless you would like to ask a question, and camera is encouraged to open. It's a great way to show your respect for a guest speaker, but also please feel free if you can't keep the camera open, it's not mandatory. And it is our honor to have our guest speaker, Ms. Amanda Ling, today to spend time with us and share with us on the topic of how life can be different, inspired by I Am Not a Monk, sponging off Buddhism as a guide for living the Buddhist lifestyle. And I would like to first introduce our Shugu Amanda to everyone, not only because she's awesome, but also I would like to appreciate Miss Amanda's contribution to Foguangshan. And Miss Amanda Ling was born in Taiwan and came to the United States at an early age, and she was introduced to Buddhism while attending the University of Texas, located in Austin, Texas, and she encountered a lot of difficulties while setting up a Buddhism club at University of Texas. And after graduating, she volunteered at Foguangshan Branch Temple in Dallas, Texas. After that, she decided to work for Buddhist Light Publishing and later Foguangshan International Translation Center. In 2018, she joined monastic family as Shugu. And first, I would like to have our Venerable Miao for the silent meditation.
Oh, we will go straight to the talk because we had a delay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Well, hello, Venerables and Venerable Zoom friends. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Venerable Miao Zhang, the director of Shifang Temple in San Diego, for giving me this opportunity to share I Am Not a Monk, sponging off Buddhism with you all. Now, before I begin, if you like a copy of this book, you may request it from our translation center. On the slideshow, the second slideshow, can you see the second slideshow? It's the QR code. Okay, it's the QR code. It will take you directly to our request form. Fill it out, submit it, and we will be able to help you further. I will give you guys all a minute before we start. And you can also check your local temples for availabilities. Okay. If you haven't had the chance to do so, no worries. I will post the information once again at the end of the talk. Without further ado, here's my topic for today. How life can be different, inspired by I Am Not a Monk, sponging off Buddhism. Now, this book is written by Venerable Master Xing Ling. He was born in 1927 in Jiangsu, China, in a war-torn village. Venerable Master was raised in a Buddhist family where he observed his mother and grandmother helping others and repaying kindness, which built the foundation of his character. At the age of 12, he would accompany his mother to search for his father, who was doing business in Nanjing, and they lost contact in Nanjing because the Japanese army had occupied there. It was there Venerable Master joined the monastic order and was fully ordained in 1941 and became the 48th patriarch of the Linji school of Chan Buddhism. Now at Chisha Monastery and the Buddhist college where Venerable received his Buddhist education, it was during that period he had met many wise teachers, and it made a great impression on him. Now, Venerable Master later established one of the largest Buddhist organizations worldwide, including the Foguangshan, the headquarters in Taiwan, Shilai Temple in United States, Nanting Temple in Australia, Nanhua Temple in South Africa, Tai Hua Temple in Thailand, in Fogongsan Friends in France. He aims to transform his limited human life into one that's equivalent to 300 years. Now, who is Venerable Master? Venerable Master has suffered a lot and went through many difficulties in his life, facing all of the traumatic life and death experience and social hostilities. Yet, Venerable continues to make every day of his life a gift to humanity through his daily practice of humanistic Buddhism. Venerable say he was born in tribulation, raised in adversity, yet experienced a lifetime of joy. Now, if any one of you like to read more about Venerable Master Xing Ling, I will recommend these two autobiographical books, Handing Down the Light and Bright Star Luminous Cloud. Here's the website, xingling.org. You can download them for free or read them online. Now, why did Venerable write, "I am not a monk, sponging off Buddhism"? Well, simply put it, the complete works of Venerable Master Xing's work encompass a total of 365 volumes, which is quite large and hard to decide which volume to begin. So we, the disciples, asked Venerable Master if it was possible for him to select a few articles from the collection that focus on his personal experience. Now, Venerable likes to write this book to also encourage disciples and the Buddhists alike to let Buddhism depend on us and not wish on how to depend upon Buddhism. This book serves as a standard practice of Buddhism that one we can rely on. He also wishes for everyone to be able to improve themselves and develop joy, respect, cooperation, unity, and peace throughout the world. In the first 3 chapters, Venerable discussed the term sponging off. By definition, sponging off means to take advantage or dependent on something or someone's generosity. Now, there are some monks making a living through sutra chanting and repentant service. But Venerable Master questioned, why won't they practice Buddhism? Now, there is nothing wrong with sutra chanting or repentant service. Here, it emphasized that monastics should not rely on just that and not practice Buddhism to benefit the sensual beings. Therefore, Venerable Master takes a stand against monks who passively depend on Buddhism without giving back. In the book, Venerable wants to establish how to be an outstanding monk. We should often reflect ourselves to check, am I really like a monk? Do I act like a monk, walk like a monk, or speak like a monk? Not rely on Buddhism, but let Buddhism rely on us. Monastics should devote themselves entirely to Buddhism and helping others. We can go to the next slide. Let's see. Okay. How did Venerable prove that he's not dependent on Buddhism? He does not just talk the talk, but he walked the walk. In 1967, Venerable Master founded the Fogongsan Monastery in Kaohsiung. Have any of you ever wondered how is a foreign monk from China with no high education, no background, no money, and no temple to support him, was able to establish one of the largest Buddhist temples in Taiwan? This has to be his devotion and his tireless effort to transform this world through the practice of humanistic Buddhism. Venerable reminds us to transform our world, we must be actively engaged in it. He encouraged people to unite both the local and the global community into a world of a complete equality, joyfulness, and perfect peace. Now, with that concept in mind, he established Fo Guangsan's 4 founding principles, and they are to propagate Buddhist teaching through cultural activities, to nurture talents through education, to benefit society through charitable programs, to benefit human hearts and mind through the Buddhist practice. Let's take a closer look at each founding principles and how Venerable Master actualized the concept of Buddhism depends on me. The first one, to propagate Buddhist teaching through cultural activities. Venerable used his writing and Dharma lectures. He founded Translation Center. Venerable's master's writing had been translated into English and many other languages, practicing localization to spread the Dharma. Right now, we have translated Venerable Master Xing Yun into 20 languages or so far and published over 1,000 titles. Venerable Master also founded the media platform, such as the Maritime newspaper, focusing on the positive side of the world, and it is the first daily newspaper to be published by the Buddhist community. Beautiful Life, television and radio stations, spread the Dharma through music, water drop tea houses. Venerable Master founded numerous Buddhist museums and art galleries. The one that's most well known is the Fo Guangsan Buddha Museum, which enshrines the Buddha's tooth relics. Now, there is also a book called The Buddha Land in the Human World. It writes about the cause and condition of how the Buddha Museum was constructed. Venerable Master's one-stroke calligraphy. When Venerable, at the age of 70, Venerable Master's vision began to blur and his hands start to shake. He must write the calligraphy in one stroke without stopping, or else he won't know where to continue. And this is why it's called the one-stroke calligraphy. Now, Venerable humbly said that, look beyond my words and see my heart. My heart has so much more to offer. Venerable writes the calligraphy and gives it to others as a way to repay the kindness society has offered him. And as an appreciation for the gift, devotees start to make donations. He then uses the money to establish the University of the West, started a public education trust fund, Global Chinese Literature Award, and the 3 Acts of Goodness prizes. I had a slideshow, but let's, okay. I'll show the slideshow hopefully at the end of this, end of the talks. This slideshow is the Siddhartha, the musical, which is based on the book of the biography of Shakyamuni Buddha, written by Venerable Master Xing Yun. It was played by the students who attended Guangming Institute of Performance Arts. Thank you, Venerable Master, which is previously known as Guangming College in Manila, Philippines. The major religion in the Philippines is Catholicism, and many of the performers in the music play are Catholic. But the Guangming Institute of Performance Arts' aim is to encourage the talents of artistic students through its different dance, music, and the theatrical cultures. It opened to students of all faiths, willing to learn and mutually respect one another's custom, culture, and religion. Let's go to the second principle, which is to nurture talents through education. A Venerable Master found dozens of Buddhist universities and colleges, middle school, primary school, kindergartens, and Chinese school. Now, Tongling University at Fo Guangsan for example, is the core foundation of Buddhist education and fosters a Telesanga community, a professional training program for the monastic, and help assist their road to propagate Buddhism. These graduate monastics are now preaching throughout the 5 continents, the United States, Europe, South Africa, Oceania, and Asia. In 2014, when the Guangming Institute of Performance Art in Manila, Philippines, is the first university founded by the Buddhism in Philippines. It provides not only free tuition, food, and lodging, but also scholarships. The student comprise 3 departments currently: the dance, the theater, and Buddhist studies. Now, Dario, who has studied Buddhism at Guangming College or Guangming Institute of Performance Art, said that he is a Christian, but is very interested in Buddhism. But because his parents are farmers and have 11 children in the family, he's financially strapped. Without the support of Venerable Master School and scholarships support, he will never have the opportunity to realize his university dream. The 3 active goodness sports team, such as basketball, baseball, soccer, gymnastics, and roller skating. Now, some of you may wonder, how does sport have anything to do with Buddhism? In actuality, Venerable Master said, promoting Buddhism through modern sports, not only for physical training, but also for practicing the philosophy of Buddha-Sava. For example, in a basketball game, one must learn to cooperate with the teamwork, benefit others, following rules, precepts, admitting mistakes, repentance, just to name a few. Buddhist choir and Buddhist monastic concert to propagate the Dharma through their performance at international renowned concert halls. And these include the Music Center in the Kodak Theater in Los Angeles, the Lincoln Center in New York, the Sydney Opera House, and the Queen Elizabeth Theater in Vancouver. And there are many more, but probably not going to be able to list all of them. The BOIA organization, youth group, student association, Dharma teaching at prison in children's classes. Here you see the photo. It's the monastic concert hall, Sound of the Human World, held at the Lincoln Center in New York. Okay. The third founding principle, to benefit society through charitable program. Venerable Master founded BOIA, Buddhist Light International Association, an organization that provides support to our communities and benefit our environment and future generations. They provide emergency and disaster relief. Just with the pandemic that's going on, they have been sending millions of face masks and PPE supplies to healthcare workers and law enforcement on the front line. They had delivered 200 units of oxygen converter into India, sending food and medical supplies to Ukraine refugees. And they are the first responder to send humanitarian needs to the victim of the earthquake in Afghanistan that just happened this past Tuesday. Public health. BOIA medical team in India and Nepal have provided general practice service to more than 60,000 people in counting. Sustainability and climate action. Buddhism is a religion that embodies environmental protection, like the Veggie Plant, Recycle, Veggie Run, which are all ongoing as we speak. Provide quality education and gender equality. Mobile clinic and libraries, senior activity programs are all part of this uh, charitable programs to benefit the society. This picture here shows some of the activity they have just done. Of course, there's probably tons of the photos. I won't be able to post it over here, but you will see the mobile and mobile libraries, and all the face masks that have been sent to the needies, to the ones that we need. Okay, and then the next picture we have, okay, and the 4 founding principles. Okay, Venerable Master founded near 300 temples all around the world: North America, Canada, Australia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Philippines, Europe, Thailand, Africa, quite a bit. Light and Peace Festival, foreground prayers, Reform Buddhist practices, and when the interfaith dialogue and celebration, when Buddha meets the gods, and short-term monastic retreat are all among them. And on the photos that you see, this one is the Buddhist triple platform ordination ceremony that held at Fogong-san Sutra Repository. The next picture you'll see is the 5 precept and Buddha Sava precept ceremony, the Dharma lectures, and Venerable's 1 strict calligraphy. Okay, in the next picture, you'll see the Peace and Light Festival and the sport teams. And who can forget the water drop tea houses, which is serving as the offering of joy and repaying the kindness to others. If you haven't never tried the tea houses, I recommend you guys to do so. Okay, and now Venerable creates something out of nothing, but none of these belongs to him. All belongs to the Buddhist believer who protect the Dharma. So how did a Chinese monk who has no high education, no background, no money, and become who he is today? It was through his vow, wisdom, skillful means, and tireless effort. Another way Venerable Master contribute was by reforming the traditional Buddhist belief system. Reforming the belief system, for example, there's an old saying, gold is a poisonous snake. Husband and wife are karmatic foes, and children are debt collectors. Now, Venerable Master Xing reframed the attitude that about wealth. If money is acquired properly and is used for good, propagating Buddhism, then there's nothing wrong with it. About marriage, advocates building a happy, harmonious, and purified family relationships. Children are the pillar that uphold the nation's future, and the Buddhist Sutra also have relayed many examples of the 4 small things not to be taken lightly. Re-envisioning doctrines, re-envisioning that triple gem since it reflects democracy and equality, realizing that the 5 precepts give freedom and respect. It is about putting faith into practice. It's not about passively following a master. It's all about faith in Buddhism and living the Dharma. And each vow means not only refusing to engage in something bad, but also proactively stand up for the virtue. On equality, Venerable Master equalized the status of female monastics. Now, question for all of you. How many female monastics do you know so far? I wonder if I can see the chat. Okay. Can anyone guess how many female monastic are in the Foguang-san? 80%. Somebody is Denny. It's 500. Okay. Probably a little higher than 500. Venerable Master have close to over 1,000, 1,300 monastic. And out of the 1,300 monastic, the female monastic is probably around 1,000. In Foguang-san branch temples, they definitely rely on these female monastic to spread the Dharma. They are equally important to the male monastics. Are you surprised? And look around, Venerable Miaozang here too. Dharma is equal and universal. Laity and monastic should have equal honor for equal work. Now, Venerable Master realized that in this new age, survival requires adaptation to the changing world environment. And here I have listed the Foguang-san has 50 verses in Buddhism, and counting actually. Here is the list. There's quite a lot. I wasn't able to fit all that in. But Venerable Master has turned the traditional monastery from a picture of gloom and doom to light and airy. The media and his devotees had credited the Master's wise leadership. But Venerable Master believed that Foguang-san has become what it is today is because of the glory from the Buddhist blessing and the achievement of the public. So the benefit should belong to the monastery and merit should belong to the devotees. Now, Venerable had done so much for the Buddhism. We should ask ourselves what we can do for Buddhism. Let's go back. 50 verses in Buddhism. You see there's one. The Foguang-san is the first computer managed monastics. It has the first, I can't read. It's the first Buddhist choir, the first radio programs, music recording, television appearance. It is the first ever Buddhist ordination, the first ever Buddhist monastic in Africa in 1994. And Venerable took 200 members of pilgrimage to India. And the list goes on and on. These are not just the list of 50 verses. It's definitely much more than that right now. I need to update that. Okay. Now, Venerable has done so much for Buddhism. We should ask ourselves, what can we do for Buddhism? For starters, we can practice the 3 acts of goodness. Do good deeds, speak good words, think good thoughts. It can apply to any age and simply to understand. Now, this is the Texas Scottish Rite Hospital. Before I graduated from college, I was hired to work at Texas Scottish Rite Hospital for children as an orthotic and prosthetic technician. At the beginning of working at Scottish Rite, perhaps due to my own weak immune system, I was quite ill. Since I started working there, I dare not to ask for days off, thus prolonging my time getting better. It was then the director of the Dallas Temple, Venerable Yixun, heard of my sickness and asked Venerable Yisong to prepare a bowl of porridge and deliver to me. I was so touched by the kind gesture, as both of them didn't really know me. So I promised myself to one day repay their kindness. So when Venerable Ishan had asked me about to help establish the BOIA Dallas Young Adult Division for the youth, even though I didn't know what kind of capability I had, I was willing to give a try. I became the first president of the BOIA Young Adult Association, and later, in 1999, I received the certification from Grandmaster Xing in Fugongsan to be the first president of the BOIA Dallas Young Adult Division. Now, another practice we can follow is the forgivings, the working principle of forgiving, giving other confidence, giving other joy, giving other hope, and giving other convenience. Now, let me share a story. One day, Jane, Maria's boss, had asked Maria to withdraw some money from the bank. Maria went to the ATM machine and withdrew a large sum of cash and left in a hurry. John came up to the ATM machine and discovered there was money in the machine. He said, "Wow, this is my lucky day, $2,000. Here I am, worried about not having enough money to pay for my bills since I just got laid off recently. Yay, I can kiss my worries away." John was about to put the money in his pocket, but then he paused and wondered, I do need the money, but the person who lost the money must be frantically searching for it. Should I keep it? After thinking about it, he decided to do the right thing and went inside to speak to the bank teller, who contacted the previous ATM machine user. John waited at the bank and ended up missing his train ride. After several hours, Maria finally showed up. She was in tears, knowing the money was found, and thanked him profusely. If the money hasn't been found, she would have lost her job and her credibility. Maria offered $200 to John, but he refuses. Maria insists on taking him to lunch the next day. The next day, John showed up at the cafe, and before Maria said anything, John thanked Maria for saving his life. You see, John was supposed to be catching a train, and because he had waited for Maria, he misses the train. Later, it was discovered that the train had a tragic accident, causing many dead and wounded. If John would have made the decision to take the money, he would have been at the train, on that train. John couldn't imagine what would have happened, what would have become of him. Now, Jane, Maria's boss, heard what John had done. She decided to hire him, as he would be somebody who's trustworthy and reliable, an asset to the company. Jane wasn't wrong about that. She even introduced her daughter to John, and later the company to them. Now, question. Have you ever been in a situation where you have been touched by someone's kindness and in turn changed your life? Think about it. Okay. Now, there are many ways that we can contribute to Buddhism. We can propagate the Dharma, support the reform, speak out for Buddhism, your unwavering faith, extend gratitude, be an active part of the community, be environmental friendly, volunteering your time, or join BOIA. Now, I work at the Fugongsan International Translation Center. And although I'm not particularly good at literature, that's my shortcoming, but I can manage other tasks, such as administration, marketing, stock inventory, customer services, volunteering training, and etc. These tasks enables me to interact with various people in temples from all around the world. It is my little wish to help spread the Dharma and be part of the Buddhist helper. This is also the reason why I joined the monastic family. You never know what amazing potential life has to offer until you try. Yeah. My life took a traumatic turn when I began my college year at the University of Texas in Austin. None of my high school friends attended UT. My parents had just moved away from Texas to Oregon, and my sister dropped me off instead, went back to her college, which was a few hours away. So I was pretty much all by myself, and at the time, I felt isolated. It was then I told myself that I am an adult now. At home, I rely on my parents, but now I need to build affinity with others. So the very next day, I forced myself to overcome my shyness and start chatting with the people around me. Later, I was introduced to Buddhism by a few student alumni to attend a Buddhist study group. They have attempted to form a Buddhist club, but without success. Then a few of us in the study group started to petition with 300 signatures in a primary Christian-based college and successfully formed the Buddhist club. After I graduated, I started to work at Texas Scottish Rite Hospital and volunteering at the Dallas Temple during weekends. It was the kindness of the bowl of porridge makes me want to give back. Now, when Venerable Ishan told me that they had tried several times to form a youth association, but were unsuccessful at it, I pitched in to help out. Now, life in Texas was a good one. I had a rewarding job, a new car, a beautiful house, great friends, and a financial stable income, and a great retirement plan that was about to mature in 2 years after my 15 years working there. Then a phone conversation changed all that. Since I have been volunteering at the temple and was also voted the president of the BOIA Dallas chapter, after my term ended with Dallas yet, I help out writing and posting the temple activities on the local news. One day, I told Venerable Yonghan, the new director at the Dallas Temple, why isn't anyone posting Venerable Master Xing's inspiration words in the newspaper? The conversation Venerable Yonghan then encouraged me to work for the Translation Center under the guidance of Venerable Yitao, the director of the Fogonsai International Translation Center, whom I have never met. In 3 weeks, I sold and gave most of my possessions, packed what I can in my car, and drove down to Shilai Temple in Los Angeles, accompanied with my best friends, Juan and Day. It was then that I met Venerable Yitao for the first time. After reaching the dormitory, I discovered the belonging that I have with me will not all fit into my room. I end up taking half of my belonging to the Goodwill and started my life here in California until today. Now, our inspiration came in many forms. For me, it started with a bowl of porridge, repaying the kindness I want to give and make contribution to the Buddha, and even if it's small. This doesn't just apply to Buddhism. It applies all around us. It happens all around us. We can ask ourselves, are we sponging off at work? Are we sponging off at home with our family, our parents? Is there anything that pushes us to do more? Repay the kindness that others have shown us, or show others our kindness, thus enriching our life and build a better world. Now, Venerable went through many tribulations. Oh, I think that the slideshow needs to go down a little bit, if you don't mind. Hello? And the next, okay, thank you. Now, Venerable went through many tribulation in his life, facing all the traumatic life and death experience, social hostility, yet Venerable Master continuously make every day of his life a gift to humanity through his daily practice of the humanist Buddhism. Now, we should stay optimistic, virtuous, and compassionate, even through hard times, by following the 3 acts of goodness and forgiveness. Thank you. And the next. I am not a monk. Sponging off Buddhism is a personal handbook for whenever we face difficulties and adversity in life. Through Venerable Master's vow, faith, reform, and his will, Venerable Master Xing Ying is able to actualize and walk the path of spreading Buddhism to the world. So ask not what Buddhism can do for us, but ask what we can do for Buddhism. Now, this concludes my talk for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this is what you guys are expecting, or that maybe can take you or bring a thought, center for your thoughts. Now,
thank you so much, Ms. Amanda, for sharing your thought. It's very insightful. I actually enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. It's a little. As a promise, on the screen there's the QR code. If anyone still would like to request the book, I Am Not a Monk, Sponging Off Buddhism. Can you see that? Okay. And let me see.
Amanda,
yes.
would you like to play the video that?
Yeah, let me try that.
I have the link, so I can.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay.
Stories just beginning, slowly unfolding in our eyes like a quiet lotus flower. Our story began 2,600 years ago, right at the foothills of the Himalayas. Nothing grand, nothing great, just a miracle. All we need now is a miracle. Nothing grand, nothing great, just a miracle. There's a need now to get hysterical. Keep us fast, keep us false, stereotypical.
Okay. Thank you, Venerable Meltdown. Yeah, I just want to show that even though that we're a Buddhist community, but we can work together with all faiths. And Guangming Temple, Guangming College, or the Guangming Institute of Performance Art definitely shows that. Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you for showing it. I had to learn how to put the slideshow into the PowerPoint. I actually learn quite a bit. It's still probably not the best, but it's good to work. And Venerable Meltdown, if you can see if on the last 2 slides is the QR code and also the website for the 2 autobiography books. If anybody wanted to copy it down or scan them. Does anybody have any questions? That concludes my talk. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions to Miss Amanda. Share any comments. You can also type in the chat. I'll read it out loud for you. So we got a question from the chat. Could you share how you overcome your shyness? Well, this is something I need to work on.
Yeah, I basically I had to push myself. I think it was that when I first went to the dormitory, it was on that day. When my sister dropped me off at the dormitory, but my room wasn't ready to release, so they actually gave me a temporary room. So that room, it doesn't have any bed sheet, no blanket. It was cold, and I only had my a jacket on. It was later, probably around midnight. All of a sudden, a neighbor or next door was playing this soft but sad music, the violin. She was playing, and all of a sudden, I kind of huddled in a fetus position, and I was just like, my tears just watering came out, saying that, I felt that I was all alone. And it was then, that very night, I told myself, I was like, oh, I can't depend on everybody else, or I can depend on myself. If I don't get out of my shell, nobody can help me with that. So it was that very moment, and I just like, okay, if you keep on hiding yourself on the corner, nobody is gonna notice you, and nobody's gonna help you if you don't ask for it. So I forced myself, basically. I forced myself in trying to just making small conversations with people. I was waiting for the dormitory to get ready, so I was sit in the outside the lobby area waiting for it. And the people who were sitting on the sofa, basically they pretty much know everybody. Seems like even though the school started, it seems like they have already been there, previous students already. And I just kind of push myself and say, oh, hi, how are you? I'm new, things like that, making small conversation. And later on, the lady who was the music lady that's next door, Ting, she became my first friend in University of Texas. And just little by little, there's always a phase. There's always phase. The time that my first speech, when I become the president of the young adult, sometimes you have to make a speech. And also when become the Dallas chapter, which is a bigger event. And I remember we have a festival which drew quite a large people. We had an outside stage, and I have to go to the front of the stage and make a speech. Since I'm the president, I kind of already know that. My face was red like lobster. It was totally red, but I basically have to, hit over there and just make this speech, no matter if it's good or bad, but I did it. And it slowly train your own fears with that. I hope that answers your question.
We got another question from the chat. How did you let go emotionally of your possessions in Texas? How do you know innocence?
It's weird. When I had the phone conversation with the Venerable Yichao, and it was the way she and I, we never met. It was just a phone conversation, and I thought that this is something I should do. This is something that I'm so adamant about it that I need to do it. I've been working at Scottish Rite Hospital for 13 years. And my friend, I told my boss, I was like, oh, I gave them 3 weeks notice. And they were like, are you sure about that? You have been doing this. So they've been like trying to convince me not to go because it's, oh no. But, I just felt that I have nothing to lose, really. I is something that is a new life. There's nothing bind to me that I have to be this way. My mom, even when I told her, I said, like, oh, I'm moving to California, I'm doing this. The first thing she come out of her mouth, you know what she said? She was like, are you sure you're going to have enough money to spend? Yeah, it was like, well, I probably don't have, I'm not going to be making that kind of pension before, but you do what you can, and you spend what you have. Even though I had the salary, but I spend it all. So there's no differences to me. There's no differences. You spend what you have, and you save what you have too. So I was like, today you have $100, but next time you have $10. You just use that $10 and use as much as you can. So I think I just felt that this is what I need to do. This is the path that I need to go, and not looking back.
Yeah. Thank you, Amanda. We still have a little bit time, 5 minutes. Since we don't have any more questions, I would like to invite Tom, who is one of the person who wrote the foreword. He's with us today, and we are honored to have him to say a few words.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Venerable. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Hi,
Great.
Paul.
Hey, Amanda, how are you?
Yeah, good.
It's so good to hear you. And COVID has kept us all distant, but at least Zoom gives us a little opportunity to
Yes,
hear
yes.
and see each other. So auspicious greetings, Venerables, Amanda, Shugu, and Dharma friends. This is Tom. My wife and I have been volunteering at the Translation Center with Venerable Ichao, and I apologize for my camera, which still does not seem to be working. So just to re-emphasize what Amanda has said, Venerable Master Xing Yun's connection to Buddhism has been plain and simple in many ways. He does say, Buddhism depends on me. As Amanda noted, his aspiration is to live 300 years worth of life. So making every day of his life a gift to humanity through daily practices. And Venerable Master searches within himself, does ask, am I acting like a monk? And it's important because he has a broad view of education, all aspects, cultural, formal education, the arts, music, even sports. And we saw the clip from the musical. He inspires me to search within myself. So do I say, am I behaving like a Buddhist? Am I kind enough? Am I compassionate enough? Just the way that Amanda kept asking us to ask ourselves. This is how we can make ourselves better practitioners. The book is very well thought out compilation of his writings. Even if you read almost nothing else from him, that would be a great place to start because it's like the compilation of all the years and everybody got together and said, can you put these together so that somebody just with this one book, I think you'll get a nice overview. I'm sure we can all be inspired by his lifelong dedication. And then this is just a quote from the core teachings that you can read on your own. And it makes me feel like his practice of giving is a constant meditation for Venerable. And that's about it. Thank you all. I very much enjoyed everything, Amanda.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Yeah, Tom had been working for had been volunteering at the translation. Even though he's living in San Antonio in Texas, he will come over from time to time to California visiting us. And because of the pandemic, we haven't seen each other for 2 years now, or more than 2 years, right?
Yeah, it's been, yes, I think 2019 Christmas was the last time
Yeah, it's been
here.
a
So
while.
every vacation, I tell my wife, let's go. But we can also do it via, via email. We used to email, Amanda used to mail us floppy disks, right, in the old days. And then, then the flash drives. And now, we can just email each other. Oh, yeah, Amanda's wonderful. We can always rely on Amanda just to take care of all the administrative needs of the translation center, and her, when she calls it a dormitory, I think that's a little bit kind, because it's basically just a room and there's a common kitchen and the rooms are right next to each other. So it's not like, from what I understand, the residence halls that students now have are like luxurious, and it's just four walls. And like she mentioned, you can hear the person next to you if their music is playing. You can hear it quite well. So
It's all good. It's all good.
All right. Thank you, Tom. It's a very interesting discussion session. And thank you, Cindy and Marissa, for your enriching questions. If you have any more questions, you could stay until the end of the meeting and then ask your question. Now, because it's about 8, I would like to invite Venerable Miao for closing remarks and dedication for it.
Thank you, Claire, and thank you, Amanda, for sharing with us this book, I'm Not a Monk, Sponging Off Buddhism. Well, many of us are from different parts of the world, especially in the United States. So the questions that we can ask ourselves is whether we can have Buddhism depend on me. So that is the question, of course, for myself, I constantly ask myself this question. So that is also part of the motivation for my day-to-day handling of many things. Always remember, like, Buddhism depends on this. Yeah. So thank you again, Amanda. So let us end our TBIF today with dedication merits. So if everyone can join your palms, may kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our humility and gratitude give rise to great vows. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and hope everyone has a safe and wonderful evening. So, Claire?